Welcome back to the 2022 League of Legends College Championship presented by State Farm. Our final series of the day sees Converse University taking on Bay State. And before we dive in, a quick note that both of the teams will be playing remotely today. So I think, but with that out of the way, playing remote will not necessarily stop us from, tuning into the channel of what both these teams have to offer.
Definitely. I think the biggest thing is going through Converse's Cinderella run. So let's go over to Telestrator real fast.
Yay!
They're letting me use this again. I'm surprised too.
We got some Telestrator action.
So they have gone, Converse has gone through a lot of upsets to be here, right? First things first, you play against Bejjaniii. First round, last year they made top 4, played against Maryville, lost to them there. Beat them 2-0 very dominantly. Then you go straight to ASU. Okay, you won the first match, but ASU won their conference. They won the West. They actually beat out UCI, another good team in this tournament. Quick 2-0. You play against Michigan State. Players, staff on there that have beaten academy teams before. Dominant performance 2-0, and now you're here top 4 against Bay State. We've talked all year, and we've talked all tournament so far about how much of a Cinderella story this has been, but maybe Converse is just good at League of Legends. I don't know.
I've considered that. You could say that they're pretty fire at it. Absolutely nuts. We're going back? We're going back. Okay, we're going back.
You said fire. Let's,
there we go.
Woo! Talk about a red carpet.
The Ring of Fire. Oh my God. Are you Ozai? Yeah. You just brought that out of nowhere. You're nuts. But to keep on going down into Converse, right? We talked a bit about them yesterday, and I think it is finally time, like we were saying, Colomer, to stop calling them a Cinderella story. It's time to start putting some respect on their names, because these guys are here to play, and we've seen that throughout the entire tournament.
Like I just said, dominant performances. They have not been very close in a lot of these games, especially the ones against Michigan State. So
sure.
I hope that they get a continuous and show how dominant they can be top to bottom.
I've got a challenge for everybody here and at home.
Okay.
Does anybody have proof that they predicted that Maryville was going to be eliminated from this tournament before Converse? Anybody?
Yeah, sure. I definitely have a tweet somewhere. I deleted it. Sorry, I deleted a lot.
Oh, okay. All right.
We'll get it off the archives.
Yeah, let me just go back in time real quick and just make sure that I look like even more of a genius too. But on the other end, speaking of geniuses, this Bay State College team are no real suckers to that, considering how smart they are and how good they are at League of Legends.
Yeah, the name that stands out to me the most here is SophistSage, someone who was at Scouting Grounds a few years ago and is kind of having a pretty good resurgence off of this Bay State College roster. And I think that he plays off their soul lanes really well, right? I think the whole team just has pretty consistent laning for the level and is able to get the most out of SophistSage as a result.
One thing that will be interesting is they are swapping junglers for this match.
Yes.
So DMK did have a solid performance yesterday, but DevildeGrey is in for this match today. We will see how that affects the team. Maybe they want to play a different style.
Yeah, and for now, it'll have to be about how you adapt on this bot lane, right? We did bring it up already before, but ScaryJerry and Sophist has been the main highlight for both of these teams.
Yeah, I love this. I don't know what to call this bot lane, like Scary Rocks or something, but these guys are so fun to watch. If you have not watched a Converse game, you should watch these guys because they have this amazing Xerath bot lane. They play off of long range really, really well. They understand engage ranges really well, and they're just in 5v5s, in 2v2s, playing really efficiently off of picks like Ezreal and Xerath.
Specifically to that, Jerry's strongest point as a player is his ability to space in fights.
Yes.
And we do know from yesterday in a couple of the games, Bay State kind of tends to fight a little bit sloppy, not very efficient all the time with their engages.
Yeah.
If Jerry is able to space effectively against a team that can't always get on him easily, we might be in for a quick series.
And speaking of quick series, let me get your quick prediction as well. Smacks, you first.
Ooh, I don't know if you guys are going to like my prediction. I'm going with a 3-0 for Bay State. I think these guys are so good, and specifically Seranok and SophistSage, you cannot go back and watch what they did in that final team fight against UCI and predict against them. Like, honestly.
Maybe not. What do you got for me?
That's no fun. I got Converse 3-2.
What?
Actually.
That's right. That's right.
The reason
You
why...
guys are all Converse! What?
Now you know how I feel last series.
How can you not be on the hype train? If you look at my shoes, they're not Converse. but they're still going to win the series.
I think that's all that matters. None of us are wearing Converse, but most of them are voting for them. And now we'll have to see what the casters think about that as well. MadMagical, AlkBattery, let's see what shoes y'all got.
Well, my shoes aren't Converse, but you know what? I'm here for a good time. I'm here for some collegiate League of Legends. I am excited to be here for the second semifinals, best of fives here. Whoever takes this game is going to face off against the University of St. Thomas. And honestly, I couldn't be more excited for both squads.
Exactly, especially coming in, it's 2 partner conferences. It's not the North, it's not the West, the South, the East. It is the NECC, and you've got the Peach Belt. No one thought the Peach Belt was going to be here at all. This is definitely an awesome run to see both of them here, taking down the West and UCI yesterday for Bay State. I'm honestly super excited for this, and to see Bay State now on blue side, especially with their new jungler, like they're talking about on the desk, their substitute. I'm excited. This is, I think, some different stuff, and at least game 1 should be super interesting.
Definitely should, especially when we look at the draft of how both teams try to really approach it, how they want to get the upper hand over one another. A big thing with both sides is really funny to talk about is the Xerath. How both sides actually, we saw ScaryJerry play that the other day, but we also know that Seranok and SophistSage can both play that same champion.
Yeah, it's one of those, especially for, again, we are on 12-9 for anybody who's just joining us. The fact is, like, hey, Xerath is super cool, but it's something that not a lot of players are going to be playing. It is definitely a pocket pick for a lot of them. For ScaryJerry, it's one of his favorite champions. Seranok has said the same. And so when we're talking about playing at range, like Inverse said on the desk, this is going to be a matchup where I think a lot of poke is going to be very important. Zoe was awesome for Bay State yesterday, and then you got to think of the Ezreal for ScaryJerry and SophistSage.
As we get into the bans, see Gangplank, Kindred taken away by the side of Converse, but that Kindred ban kind of doubled up because we saw Rocks play it the other day, and we also know that Radar tends to go onto this champion, but performs far better on things like that Victor that got taken away.
Exactly. I wonder what Radar is going to kind of fall back towards. I think Syndra has been something we've been seeing throughout the weekend, but control mages abound. For Converse now being on red side, I think it's pretty obvious what they're going to go for, considering what we've seen throughout all of the collegiate tournament, right? It has been this Volibear for Coach Jad, and especially against MSU, Volibear Nautilus has been the combo for both them and Rocks.
Which is why I'm a little surprised to see that not only is the Volibear not banned, everyone seems to just be okay with letting Coach Jad play this one champion he's been playing over and over again throughout our entire LoL tournament. But the other thing that surprises me, that stands out, is the Renekton. Panthers Renekton has not been banned, and that is one of his best performing champions.
Well, Bay State, you know, they saw the Converse one, and they're like, okay, well, Renekton probably did all right. They go and check the scoreline, and like, why is this guy 0-7? Like, what happened? What happened that game? They didn't see.
It was 0-6. It was 0-6.
True. My bad. But it was, you know, a much rougher laning phase. Definitely, MSU took him to task on that. But ScaryJerry said it in his interview. You can see it in the gameplay. Panther was resilient. He came in with a monster flank to save the game and to try and find the backline of MSU and brought them here to top 4 alongside his AD carry. So Bay State, you know, if you were watching last night versus UCI, this feels very similar to yesterday. Now, if you saw on both of our days of the quarterfinals, Converse were on red side for both of their games. Bay State, blue side for all of them, and they all started with this Wukong. So getting this for DevildeGrey, got to change out the player, but you get the same champion.
I'm more excited about the Tristana and Ahri that were picked up by the side of both SophistSage and Seranok, because we saw that when they had that first game victory over UCI, it was the back and forth resets from these two players. It was so crazy to watch. Of course, they did try it in the second game as well, not to the greatest success.
Yeah, it definitely went a little bit awry. They may have just been a small Diego. Okay, and now we've picked up the Veigar. Most assuredly going into the hands of Radar, wanting to take that away, try to go for a bit of a different matchup into the Ahri for Seranok. I think when we were looking at this matchup, Seranok versus Radar is the one that I have my eyes on. Obviously, all are going to be looking at ScaryJerry versus SophistSage, but Radar so far has been kind of stepping up and coming up against Seranok. This guy put Cinna to task yesterday.
I was about to say, Seranok is going to be a difficult opponent
to move.
Right, you're not really going to be able to touch him. I think that's why the Veigar is really good here for the side of Radar. While normally we've seen the Karma, we've seen the Victor ban taken by Radar with both banned, had to go for something, and I think going for a Veigar, something that can scale up into the game and go into what I consider the strength of Converse, which is team fights.
Exactly, and this is where I'm looking at Bay State. What can they do in the first few levels of the game? Because Seranok was pressuring on Zoe, he was pressuring on Ahri, and now here he's going to have to do it again. Veigar's laning phase, not much to really look at, all that considered. So
No. You look at the stack. Stack.
True.
Always about the stack.
Phenomenal
when you watch
evil.
Veigar.
We got to be able to stack that up. Agreed. What I'm looking for is where's Gwen?
Right,
Because
where's
Bay
Gwen?
State was putting a lot of pressure onto Gwen. We haven't really seen it from Panther. His focus has been those AD bruisers, the fighters, the Renekton like we were talking about, which is banned here, and the Fiora.
Yes, I was about to bring that up as well, and I actually would expect that to be banned, but instead, it's Renata Glusk. So we got 3 support bans on this second half with Leona, Nautilus, things that Ronx has played very well in the bot lane, but so has Swordblue.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what the support pick, like you were saying, is going to be, because Rox has been playing a lot of Engage. The only enchanter we've really seen him on is the Karma, which is gone.
Right.
And when you take away the Renata, you look on the opposite side, there's no Leona, there's no Nautilus. So what other Engage champions are they going to go for? They're going to kind of go
Alistar?
further back into the pocket. Exactly. I was thinking maybe something like an Alistar.
Or the Braum.
Exactly. Now with the Braum for Converse, I think you could try to play at least something like a Rakan here for the Tristana, and you have a really potent 2v2 in bot lane.
But you also have good disengage on the side of Converse to kind of make it so that even if you go for the Rakan, it's not as guaranteed. Though if that gets picked, I'd be a little surprised. That is an aggressive support style for Swordblue to bring out here.
Nice.
And does lock it in.
And that's, I think, it still fits in the vein of what we were talking about when we were talking about Swordblue, right? Because yesterday we saw him just roaming across the map, tearing apart, not only helping SophistSage, but then moving over to get Seranok into a good position, get him a couple kills, push out his lane, and let Ahri influence the rest of the map.
And I think that's where Bay State really are such a great team, right? They roam around early into the game. They catch teams off guard. They play chaotically. And sometimes teams just aren't ready for that. They're not ready for the chaos that Bay State bring in as Converse continue on this with a comfort. You've got ScaryJerry on his Ezreal, another champion he loves to play. And then Panther onto the one of two we talked about between the Renekton and Fiora.
Not even just that, tag along the third one, we got Coach Chad Volibear. We're talking about meta, it's like Bay State, they're playing what is really strong on the patch. Obviously, both Wukong and Gwen are best on 12-9. But Converse are saying comfort triumphs all at this point. We've got 3 champions that we feel are very, very strong. They've got okay matchups for them. And I'm, again, looking at the first 15 minutes here, because if Bay State cannot open up a massive lead, Converse, we've seen time and time again, have made great on those team fights.
Exactly, and that's all they have to wait for. They just have to make sure they're not bleeding out too much early, but I don't really see them having a good way for the side of Bay State to try to see if they can find those mistakes, find those early leads on Converse, because they have so much safety. The Braum bot lane is going to help out, give a little bit of safety. Ezreal, too, going to jump back on his own. Baby Cage in the mid lane.
Yeah.
Keeps him safe, and then a Fiora is a great matchup into Gwen.
I think what I'm looking for is how can Wukong abuse these matchups, because he has really strong push coming from his bot lane. Top lane's going to be safe for the most part, and looking at mid lane, that's all what Ahri does. That's her whole bread and butter there. She's going to push the wave and look to move alongside with this Wukong.
But we are now getting in to our second semifinals of the day. It is going to be game 1 between Bay State College and Converse University.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this, man. Just having Bay State here, again, the 2 partner conferences. No one thought that we would be seeing Converse. This is Bay State, who's also a similar Pool A seed, moving in. And can they get the level 1 here? This would be really important for setting it off. And if they catch Swordblue...
that ward from Swordblue, he knows right away. They'll be able to at least get that ward done, and probably... Oh, did they give it over to Radar? No, they didn't. Coach Chad took it.
Okay, but they all split experience there, so no one's just going to randomly get an early level 2 out of nowhere. No one's going to have a
Well, that's what I'm saying. I would have
spike.
liked to have seen them actually split up, give it to Radar, so that way you can get that early level 2 mid lane for Veigar.
Yeah, okay. I can see it. Radar is just going to be sitting here like, well, no level 2
I mean, it's not the worst thing, right?
Exactly.
It's mine.
Small advantages there to help out with the laning phase, have that over Seranok. It's a few minions missed, but whatnot. When we're looking at this matchup again, it is all eyes early game on, for me anyway, DevildeGrey. Okay. He is the substitute that's coming in for Bay State playing. Exactly. Big shoes from their first series. And if they can just plug and play 2 different junglers who can kind of fill similar roles, I think we're going to have a really exciting game, and Converse are going to be thrown off their game.
Well, I think it's important to kind of tell the audience as well that DevildeGrey is not just a random. This is someone who it's not just some rando they got off the street. This is someone who actually has had competitive experience down in the Latin American servers, playing in the academy service scene down there. He's gotten a lot of practice in NA as well, so he's still got the hands to really be able to back him up. Sure, it's not Dragonman Kim like they would have wanted because they're so used to practicing with him.
Yeah.
But they got someone who is going to do justice for the team.
He's also a fellow Venezuelan.
Yes.
Rocks.
Right now, Rocks should be fine. Or is he the flash away, ticking to ignite first blood, picked up by Swordblue?
Okay, SophistSage, he trusted his support. He didn't want, he was like, oh, do I need to go for one last auto? They both flash in. Rocks getting caught off there. That's really dangerous, I think, for Bay State because they want the ball to start rolling early. You want Tristana to start knocking down turrets. You can move her into the mid lane. He's also a potent side laner.
But isn't that great to have the Pyke get that kill as well? Another thing that can snowball out of control.
Both of these champions want a lot of gold. They can just immediately tear it open. And for Swordblue, as long as you have priority in this bot lane, you can move the Pyke into mid lane like we were talking about. So let's watch this again. And it's just level 1 Braum versus level 1 Pyke. Halo Blades as well. So much combat power coming from the runes in just the champion matchup.
I think it was also Rocks not expecting that amount of damage to come in that early. I think had he flashed a little bit sooner, could have actually made it out alive.
Their bot lane needs to be there early if you're Converse. Because you're in such a potent, volatile matchup like the Tristana and the Pyke, you need to be in the lane early, assess for the wave cryo, and make sure that you're not going to get dove like that on level 1.
All right, so Coach Chad is right there, spotted out, just barely coming out of the alcove. So Bejjaniii says, all right, yeah, I'm just going to hug this wall. You're not going to come near me. Even if I don't have Flash, have the Ignite instead, it's going to be difficult to get me under turret.
Coach Chad has to feel like he got spited. That's why he used the oracles, but maybe he's not necessarily thinking about that. Maybe he's thinking, I'm okay, they haven't spotted me yet. DevildeGrey shows himself on the bottom side, and so now both junglers understand, hey, we know where the other side, you know, at least one of these quadrants is potentially cleared. Didn't even bother to go for the other scuttle here. So missing out on that, DevildeGrey could kind of jump out to an early lead.
I'm looking at this bot lane still. Looking at it a little bit more so, especially after that first kill for the side of Bay State, because you can see that ScaryJerry and Rocks have not been deterred to play aggressively in this. They've got Coach Chad. The jump away from SophistSage will be fine. But Swordblue could re-engage with the Bone Skewer. They've got Devil right behind them. They look for the Bone Skewer, goes wide onto Rocks, who jumps back to the team.
All right, and this is just like tentative gaming right now for both of them. They're like, ooh, just barely missing on some skill shots. Maybe if the stun lands onto SophistSage, they can look for this. They're just constantly trying to just cancel recalls here. Okay, DevildeGrey gets caught out here. So he's gone. This is a 2v3, and Radar almost dies mid.
We didn't even get to see that, and Seranok has got Radar down to low. Radar's been suffering in this mid lane occasionally, especially into things like Ahri, where he's just bullied around, forced out of the lane so early on, even though he does have TP. It's a little dire for this mid lane. Let's go back to the bot lane, because it seems like they just want control. They are here to prove who is truly the best bot lane of the duo.
Oh,
you got the flash in from ScaryJerry, so aggressive with an exhaust onto SophistSage so they can get the kill onto ScaryJerry. Swordblue trying to get his damnedest on a kill back, but it was a double kill for ScaryJerry, dying to the Ignite, but who cares? ScaryJerry came out on top.
They found it, and no one ever expects the Ezreal Braum to be flashing forward. As soon as Swordblue uses the Phantom Undertow, they know, hey, look, Pyke is out of this fight. Let's just go straight onto this Tristana. Fantastic job from them. Ooh. Panther, Ignite.
He dies to Ignite as well. Man, we're just getting action across the rift.
And this is really cool for me anyways. Converse, ScaryJerry had not gotten a reset at that point, so it was just Dorian's Blade gaming the entire time. Bay State did have the item advantage, and on the flip side,
they had a call.
They had a call. But I might even have to hold this Radar.
Radar, he's barely alive on the other side as well. The red buff won't be enough, but Coach Chad is really the target that they wanted. With the flash in, Seranok, he perfectly was able to use that Spirit Rush.
He's like, you're a little bit far up, buddy. I just hit level 6. Let's try and get another Spirit Rush like you were saying. Find that kill. So 2 for 0 mid lane. He's going to be able to push this in, and this is terrible for Radar now. This is awesome for Seranok because Radar just TP'd. He now has no flash at any moment. As soon as that Spirit Rush is up, Radar has to be playing scared.
And looking at how this game is already unfolding, it's that early lead, the early dominance that we wanted to see from Bay State right out of the gates. Utilize that snowball potential they have, and now they've gotten level 6 for Seranok. They already have the resets there in this bot lane where SophistSage, sure, he doesn't have a kill for himself, but he got 2 onto Pyke.
Yeah, and we're gonna need to see how Swordblue moves out of this, and we get a replay of what exactly happened bot lane. So all of the damage is now missing from SophistSage, right? He doesn't have explosive charge, and here it is. SophistSage does a short hop at this point, and with the exhaust as well, he falls. Swordblue's able to pick this up with an ignite, but still the double kill going over to the bot lane of Converse is the win condition that we've set up time and time again for them. And here's a replay of what happened mid. Chad is just trying to cover for his mid lane, but Seranok with the killer instinct. Yeah, Radar is just staying for way too long at this point.
Yeah, had he just gone fully back towards the tier 2 turret, that wouldn't have been as dire of a play for the side of Converse. But now you've got resets. You already got a little bit more gold. You can see that level advantages they have across the map as well. They're in an excellent position.
Doing it again.
While the bot lane just continues. This is the last saving grace for the side of Converse because topside just isn't going too well. Needlework wasn't able to take down Panther, but it forces him out of lane.
Panther is so down in this lane right now. Just not even just gold, but also Bejjaniii is constantly finding the 1v1 versus him. And yet again, it is another game where Converse are heavily relying on Rox and ScaryJerry, and they're putting up.
But it's working for them. If they continue to get more gold and more kills for ScaryJerry, they can set up later, but now you get the catch out onto Coach Chan, who flashed away, followed up by Seranok. Got Spirit Rush 1, looking for Spirit Rush 2, but the flash in to be able to pick up the kill. Bot lane takes another kill for ScaryJerry as Radar will get hunted down in the river.
And Jad, too focused with going for ganks. DevildeGrey has level 6, Volibear does not. Those are one of the important timers when we're looking at this Volibear. You need that ultimate if you want to try and make a ton of different plays, but trying to cover for Radar leads to 2 more kills going over to the mid-jungle of Bay State.
And at this point, this is going to be a game of top versus bot. You got 3 members on the side of the Venezuelans for Bay State College, all in a great position. Well, it's merely ScaryJerry, who's got to hold up the rest of his team.
This feels like their quarterfinals match for Converse, where in game 2, their top lane is getting absolutely camped. They're not able to do anything, and the enemy jungle is just tearing apart the map. So now, with this lead, I think Bay State are in a fantastic position. I mean,
nice
Coach Chad
There's
is
not much
just
to
gone.
say there, yeah.
Yeah, Swordblue, fantastic pick. Hasn't quite hit level 6, but after this Rift Herald, Bay State will have control of the entire map. I mean, Dragon's coming up in 2 minutes, you have to imagine. They'll just wait for this, finish out the Rift Herald in a few minutes time, drop that and get a lot of gold in mid lane. I'm specifically looking at this 3 plates. That's a lot of gold.
So I'll pitch this to you,
okay.
Dimitri. We're gonna look at this from Converse standpoint.
Sure.
They've been in this position many, many, many times.
Yes.
They have already been a team that many people have counted out since the beginning, and yet here they still are in the top 4 for CLoL. This team, even in their previous series, in the top 8, against Michigan State University, were down in both Game 1 and Game 2. Do you think they can pull off another miracle here? It's only 10 minutes in.
It's only 10 minutes in. However, I think this is a really tough ask from the side of Converse. This isn't some of the carries that we were seeing from the last game, right? It isn't a Xerath that is going to be able to burst out at a much longer range than an Ezreal. It isn't a Kaisa that has that kind of outplay potential.
But it's ScaryJerry's.
It's ScaryJerry, yes. Maybe with nameplates off, I would think that this is a kind of done and dusted game at 10 minutes, but ScaryJerry has already shown that they can do the impossible. So maybe anything's possible. I will give you a definitive answer. I think Bay State are in a very, very dominant position right now, and it would take a miracle for Converse.
Well, there's not a miracle on that mid lane turret. Nice charge, as you had called out prior, taken by Shelly, already summoned. Now bot lane. ScaryJerry, he is playing aggressively. He knows if SophistSage is ever by himself, he can 1v1.
No, but even now, like this is a really good setup for Bay State, because now that they've taken this mid-tier 1, it's going to take a lot for Radar to push this out and then match the roams from Ahri. As long as they're controlling vision with Swordblue, this bottom lane turret is actually a liability at any point for ScaryJerry if he's caught by himself. So need to be incredibly careful. Bejjaniii.
Panther, this isn't looking too good. You had your matchup. You chose the Fiora into Gwen, and Bejjaniii is just showing a lesson right now of why Gwen is so damn powerful.
Yes, exactly. Especially with the Ignite setup, Bejjaniii, who, you know, he was playing Camille, he was playing Aatrox yesterday and was able to help his team over the finish line up against University of California Irvine. But this one is definitely feeling a lot more Bejjaniii favored. He's doing a fantastic job, and Panther, one of the kind of players that we were looking at earlier on coming into top 8 as a potential carry, and it's just not really found his footing so far in the semifinals.
And Bejjaniii just looking dominant. He played Gwen a couple times yesterday as well and looked great on that in the first game. Here, in this first game against Converse, looking fantastic. While mid lane, Veigar is just suffering. There's not much he's going to be able to do, nor is he going to be able to get the stack, so instead, Converse have to look elsewhere. I think that you need to even put a little bit more attention onto this Fiora in the top lane. Try to get Panther an early kill and get him out of this deficit.
I honestly just need to see Coach Chad make a play that works, because it has just been matched gank after matched gank. He's not able to find anything top lane. He tries to go bot lane. Nothing is able to fire off. Maybe it's this.
He got charmed before he could get the stun, so he had to use the ult to get away, but the Bone Skewer forced the flash out of Coach Chad, so a lot burned on the side of Converse.
And now they're teleporting in, but they have no flash and no ultimate on their Volibear. This is a Hail Mary if I've ever seen it. Seranok.
Seranok just kills off the bear. A killing spree for him. An easy secure of that dragon.
And it's off of a ward that is on the blue buff. He immediately makes the play. There's no vision for Converse. 12.5 minutes in, can they find this?
Scary rocks. They got a lot of damage there on a SophistSage. True Shot Barrage is not up with the flash hit. It's the flash out of SophistSage.
And Wukong is there. Panther as well. He's just going to go down yet again. It's just barely.
Barely, but ScaryJerry, he will fall. A nice X marks the spot, and it marks ScaryJerry.
And right now, Bay State, we talked about it, right? Like having wave priority, having the push in all 3 of their lanes is coming, kind of giving them all of the leads that they found here. 2 dragons in their name. Almost 7,000 gold up at this point. Plates has not even fallen yet, and they're just collecting more and more gold.
But it's Converse, baby. It's Converse,
Magical.
baby. You can't give up on them just yet.
I don't want to burst your bubble on this one, but this may not be the comfort zone. Converse have played from worse, but
they got scaling. It's the late game, baby.
This is like that meme where you're just like, this is ScaryJerry. I can pump so many good games into this guy, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get one out of this. This is a super tough situation for them to play through.
I'll give you that because Seranok, the guy we just saw take that bot tier 1, 4-0 on Ahri, already has a 500 gold bounty on top of his head. He is looking fantastic on this champion, really bringing it home and showing why he is one of the strongest mid laners we probably have in CLoL.
Yeah, I want everybody to take a look. Look at Ezreal's itemization right now. He is on his way to the Mirror Mana. It's that second item. This is what we are looking for. That 2-item power spike for the Ezreal is going to be make or break for Converse. Can they get enough gold for him to finish? You look across from him, he is the only person that is above other members of Bay State. ScaryJerry is the reason why Converse are going to be even attempting a win here.
However, Seranok is so far ahead of everyone else that he is comfortable in that position so they can re-engage, get a charm, double up kills for the side of Bay State.
They're trying to look for resets. Swordblue doesn't have the death from below. It's 2.5 minutes. They're just forced alpha into the bot side of the map. Coach Chad may try to look for this play onto Bejjaniii, but Converse losing radar there and rocks means they're going to continue to hitting this mid-tier turret. And SophistSage, with this Tristana, can play as a competent side laner now.
And this is something I have liked to see out of Bay State. They are a good and great team at taking those advantages and completely pushing and looking for the early win. They don't want to relent. They don't want to give a window of opportunity to their opposition. They did that in game 1 against UCI, and here in the first game against Converse, looking to replicate that.
Exactly. They've gotten every single one of these neutral objectives. Both Dragons, they've got the Rift Herald here, the second one, and almost all of these turrets are gone. There's one last tier 2 turret standing for Converse, and again, it is, for me, can Ezreal do it? I think the time for that to have happened is too far gone.
But look at the difference. You talked about how ScaryJerry is the one person who has some gold above other members of Bay State, but he's still behind that of SophistSage.
Yeah.
Everyone on the side of Bay State outside of, I don't even know. I actually don't think at this point that there's anyone. I think that ScaryJerry.
Maybe it's Swordblue.
Maybe, but it's
Pyke.
He's 4-2 now.
Yeah, I mean, Pyke is just picking up a ton of kills. And now,
exactly.
How much more difficult is this game going to be when you look at Pyke and he's already finished his Umbral You think, well, now there's no vision. They already had a bit of difficulty getting into their own jungle. The fact that Coach Chad is even able to pick up his own wolf camp is more of a formality for them.
Look at that, too. A Magi's in Seranok's inventory. He knows this game is theirs, that they are that far ahead and really is here to put the heat underneath Converse.
The more resets, you know, Ahri's going to continue to dash. She's going to get more and more damage as she gets kills. Magical, 50 seconds before this Drake, Converse need to send it. The Valkyries need to make a Hail Mary play and save this game. It is 11,000 gold.
You're starting to sound like me now.
There you go.
You're starting to sound like me.
Bay State have as much gold. They have half as much gold as Converse have.
Exactly, and look at this. Another Shelly, another charge. It is a tier 2 that falls. They didn't even need the Rift Herald player to take that. It's just there for a little bit of flavor.
Herald just wanted to help out on the turret take. Unfortunately, more of a mover than a shaker on that one. So Bay State now setting up for the Ocean Drake here, and honestly, Bay State, like you were saying, all that they've done in a lot of their games is just continue to put pressure, continue to roll the advantages that they have into larger effects, larger leads for them. And in this game, they're just continuing to take Converse to task.
It's worked really well, especially in this game too.
Yep.
They've just been going really fast where Converse have not had an answer.
Laning phase has never really been Converse's strength. Yes, we've seen outplays from ScaryJerry and Rox, but the rest of the team really hasn't been able to match up to someone like, again, Seranok, and especially now Bejjaniii, who's having a fantastic game against Panther.
Making sure that no lane is doing well, even ScaryJerry falling behind now. You can even see that in the inventories, the items being built up. We already talked about that Magi for Seranok, but now he's got himself a Banshee's Veil on top of it.
He's just going to be unkillable at this point, right? Like, Coach Jad can never reach onto him. I think this is going to be a little tough for the Magi's. Like, it offers a lot of magic resist, but you really want that spell shield. It's going to be on ScaryJerry to really kind of pop that off.
I don't know. Don't even know if he's going to be able to do so unless it's an alt used to get there just because how far away they're going to have the position. Seranok is that scary. He's level 12 right now. Sure, it is matched by that of Radar, but we already saw where the gold is and how much of it is into Seranok's pocket.
I mean, now, like, what do Converse do? Coach Chad is going to stay level 9 for a really long time unless he's going to kind of leech experience.
He nearly.
Seranok?
I think he almost was able to solo kill him outright right there.
Seranok was thinking about flexing on him.
Oh, he was
about to bring out the big
contemplating
guns.
He's like, do I go for this? Do I just spirit rush in? No, instead I look for Radar, my actual competition, the one I was landing against. But you've overextended, buddy, and you gave a shutdown to ScaryJerry.
800 gold to Converse, and specifically, like you said, going on to ScaryJerry. Look at that. Only 1,600 gold down, but it's going to take more than a pick onto Seranok. It's going to take a lot more of that.
It's going to take like 4 or 5 more of them.
Yes. Maybe, you know, look, if it's not just Seranok, let's get the rest of these bounties going.
Okay.
If we can get all these bounties onto maybe ScaryJerry, maybe we give over to Panther and Radar, then this game starts to look a little better. I don't want to get them out of the clear yet. Bay State are still in control of the game. They're controlling the jungle and a very good kind of map presence when you look at all of the vision that they have.
They've pretty much just pushed a lot of that control on this top quadrant of the map, getting to the 20-minute mark. They're making sure they can lord all that control around the Baron that will spawn in just a few seconds. Yeah,
exactly. And look at this. They just have to force them out by putting members in. Seranok is on his way, saving his teleport. So at any moment, all of the members are now of Bay State are starting to collapse, get into this mid lane and get this push out so they can move all those wards that we were talking about to get these standing objectives.
But respect to Converse, they haven't fully relented that control. Despite the fact they're 12,000 gold, well, about 11,000 gold behind that of Bay State. They're trying their best to make sure they can have some sort of control, but Devil looked for the flank. It was a nice baby cage to force out the decoy early, but with Bejjaniii on the other side, they've got a lot of damage, but they lost the Wukong first, but they can re-engage afterwards, especially with the resets abound everywhere, taking down the members of Converse. ScaryJerry, the only one on this side of the map that is alive, which means the side of Bay State can turn their attention onto the objective.
Okay, so ScaryJerry, what is your option here? You're going to reset and potentially go to push out on the map. Bay State, they're saying, look, we can't start up this Baron. I think they potentially could. Yeah. I think it's definitely something that they could get away with, considering they do have a very fed Tristana and the Gwen. But instead, Panther's just going to say, look, I'm going to pick up a turret, and this is as good as it's going to get.
I don't know if he's going to be able to take it quickly enough. We see that Seranok and SophistSage were both rotating down. Sophist got distracted by the red buff, but with Seranok still nearby, he has that ability to chase down Panther.
Instead decides, we'll let him live. This is your ticket.
We're not bullying you all the time.
Yeah, you know, well, I'm gonna let Bejjaniii get away with this one. As Seranok making good on the play that you were just talking about, right? Wanting to make sure that, hey, Panther, you cannot stay up in this lane, especially with how little mana Fiora has right now. Could be a very difficult situation. So now, Converse setting up, I mean, there's no inhibitor that's been taken. All their outers are gone, but you do have a dragon that's coming up. And Radar, this is about the time that we need to see him kind of step up. You've been farming for the whole game. Veigar needs to find a really good cage.
And I'm curious to see how many stacks he's at as well. That's going to kind of indicate whether he's in a good position to actually fight back well.
200. Okay.
200, not bad. You still need to complete that death cap to really make sure that you're bolstering yourself even further. But you're in a position where you can fight back. You just got to get rid of that shield off of Seranok.
And look at how they're just pinching them right now. Like, Bejjanii's coming over from a top flank. You've got Swordblue and Devil coming in from the bottom lane. And with no Veigar, it's just so hard to enter into the river.
A little bit of damage. There's the TP coming in from Panther. They look for the engage into the back line. They got a nice glacial fissure. It cut off so much of base state away from Bejjaniii, but now it only was Panther fighting Bejjaniii, so he's got to be careful. He's jumped
dead.
on. He is dead to an ignite coming in, and they can now turn back towards this dragon and turn their attention onto the remaining members of Converse.
Now, base state, they can go for this dragon, or they can just look to push into mid lane. They've got a wave sitting there. They've got Tristana and the Gwen attend to this mid wave. It looks like that's going to be the play, but I don't know. It seems like, what?
No, it's not stolen away by Devil. Instead, he jumped in. He's taking a lot of damage. Trade of jungler. Scary in the middle, but the damage from Bejjaniii makes sure SophistSage takes him down with Radar. Baby Cage to distract for a little bit of time, but the flash chin charm takes down Radar.
Okay, and Seranok, I don't know if you're going to go hunting for some rocks, but Converse, they get the dragon, but fell for in the meantime. This should just be Baron. In the meantime, you see all of the pings coming onto this. I think Base State got caught a little off guard there that Converse were going to start up that dragon. They should have just gone for mid lane, but instead they wait for the play. Devil hops over the wall a little bit late, doesn't get that dragon. But the team fight is just too much, right? Like the goal that they have, Seranok, the pressure he's putting onto the back line. Jerry shifted forward, and all of a sudden, SophistSage comes over top. Wait a minute.
Just spawned. Let's see if the True Shot Barrage will be in time to steal it. It's not. They spotted out it was being done, and Panther jumps in, seeing low health members on the side of Base State, but he's getting chased down by 4. The body block from Rox. Ignite taking to pick up a rampage for Bejjaniii. Rox will fall as well, trying to save the life of his top laner. It will be even a TP in from Radar, but that's his death. He just jumped into Doom, and they've got everything for the side of Base State to continue to hunt down Converse.
And another situation where ScaryJerry feels himself alone on the map, outplaying Seranok.
Ooh, okay, ScaryJerry, okay. Get yourself a kill, but there's still Baron buff on many members, 3 members, in fact, of Base State.
That's 1 member. Can he do it against 3 this time? They're going to attack this inhibitor. It should go down. ScaryJerry, his flash is coming up. I don't know if they're going to be able to find a play. Swordblue taking that turret. I don't know if they'll get the inhibitor. Base State. A couple of mistakes coming out from them. Getting a little sloppy towards this, trying to close this out. Still 14,000 gold ahead.
I was about to say, even if there are some mistakes, a little bit of sloppy play around there, they're still maintaining a gargantuan lead over Converse. Converse really are just ScaryJerry at this point. 9-4 on Ezreal. Only one who has any other kills besides him is Radar, but you're really relying purely on ScaryJerry if you have any hope to win this game.
Oh, wait a minute. Do they make this punish? I mean, Coach Jax finds Swordblue.
A little bit of fight. Panther gets eviscerated from Bejjaniii. Even if they got the pick onto Swordblue, it's the 1v1 fight that is critical.
I mean, Gwen's just so disgusting at this point.
Gwen.
Like, yeah, actually, like Gwen, they kind of just got a massive copy of their draft that we've been seeing them play 4 out of the 5 champions already, multiple games in a row with minor changes here and there.
I just don't understand why Gwen is even being allowed. I've made this case before, but completely gut Gwen. Just take everything away from her, give her the poppy treatment of old. Just, no, I don't want to see her anymore.
I like Gwen. That's a great champion.
She's busted, man.
She is busted.
That's what I'm saying, gut her.
Man, it's okay, Gwen. You still got 1 fan here in the casting. I mean, for Base State, they're obviously big fans of Gwen, right? They've been putting a lot of priority.
I would be too when I have a 507 Gwen on my side.
This is very true, but Base State have been, staying consistent with, what has been working for them, right? It has been Seranok on something that can find these miracle plays, whether it be the Ahri or the Zoe from yesterday. And Wukong kind of feels like DevildeGrey is plug and play at this point.
He's doing a good job of it, honestly. He's looking really strong in this team composition. Rock's getting picked off with the Unskewer. Will survive, just barely though. A lot burned to keep him alive.
And you see this right now, Converse are just stuck in their base. They're kind of just like going for this play, but as we bring up the minimap, like they cannot leave their base whatsoever. No. There is no jungle camps for them to use, and it's very hard for them to clear waves. ScaryJerry gets found.
Charm coming in from Seranok. It might even force a fight. Swordblue had to go golden while you have a little bit of a re-engage from Seranok. The Glacial Fissure does not separate enough of the fight with Seranok still diving. They've got themselves the attention of the turret and they take it down.
Maybe Radar finds a pick here with his ultimate. Maybe with the poke alongside ScaryJerry, they can punish members of Base State for over-pressuring, but they moved. They said, look, maybe we can't get the inhibitor in top lane, but we can certainly move into mid lane, break that open, and set up for this Ocean Soul.
Ocean Soul, going to be a nice benefit. More extra gold, essentially, for the side of Bay State, with already at nearly 15,000 gold lead now.
I feel like every time we look at this Bay State gold, it just gets
bigger and bigger.
Bigger. This is a form of futures market at a certain point. Like, how much more gold do we really need over your opponent? And we're looking at itemization, right? It's not just that, but gold experience as well. Like, Bejjanii's 2 levels over Panther. He's level 16 at this point. Same thing for the bottom lane matchup, right? Sophist, he's already ready to go and firing away. Can Swordblue find a pick? Look at Bejjaniii on the flank.
And strangely enough, look at Rocks on the flank as well, spotting out Bejjaniii. But with how low Panther's already been taken by SophistSage, it's risky to continue to fight. Choke Jad, you're just dead like you called out. It's an easy pick for the side of Bay State with themselves picking up a soul. It is at the life of Bejjaniii, but honestly, at this point, who gives a damn?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, sorry, Bejjaniii, you ended up going down. We got soul. Call that worth.
And they're going to get the fight afterwards. They get another pick onto Rocks, and they can continue to march down mid with the flash coming in from Swordblue. It is Radar taking them back, put them into the grave, saying, at least you'll join me.
Yeah, and then by the time that Converse are able to reset, it's not going to matter. They did this yesterday versus their in their quarterfinals. They gave up a Baron just to get that Hextech soul, and it led them to a victory. Converse, a rough early game means that ScaryJerry cannot win it.
And here they're in the base, they're wailing away on the Nexus, but they want to pad that KDA beforehand, as you do here in CLoL. More kills abound. Coach Chad will fall to DevildeGrey with a nice charm landing on to Ezreal. Double kill for Sophist, and game 1 goes to Bay State College.
Just under 30 minutes, 32-14 is the final score line. And it felt like that for most of the game, right? It was that level 1 that we saw from the bottom lane, and Seranok, even before level 6, was finding and just obliterating Radar.
He was. Honestly, Seranok had full control from the get-go. The lane phase was always that Ahri, and it's kind of unfortunate for the side of Radar. They counterpicked that. The Veigar is meant to stop the mobility, the movement of an Ahri, and he just wasn't able to contain Seranok.
Yeah, and that's really what we're looking for in this matchup, right? Like, who can stop Seranok in this matchup? So far, it hasn't been Radar, and he's going to need to make it work if we're in this best of 5 if they want to try and make it to finals.
Yeah, and right now, with a pretty hard loss there. That was a pretty hard loss for the side of Converse, but an excellent showcase for Bay State.
Exactly. Keeping more of the same and exactly what we're expecting. Maybe not what the analyst desk is expecting, considering their predictions.
Again, another surprising one. Very surprising.
Yeah.
So, while Converse State and Bay State get prepared for the next battle in this best of 5, we're handing it back over to the analyst desk.
Thank you, MadMagical and AlkBattery. I mean, one could say that gravity is gone, but Smacks, I want you to bring us back to reality because I don't want that to escape from my feet once again.
Seranok is so good at League of Legends, everybody. He's not dropped a single beat since yesterday. That Ahri game was so good. And he's into the Veigar matchup too, like carrying every single team fight. I cannot believe this.
Counterpoint. ScaryJerry is really good at League of Legends. Honestly, I'm very, very impressed by Converse, and in particular, their bot lane, ScaryJerry and Rocks. I think they blinded both their champions, as you can see in the draft below. They got double counterpicked, and they were still able to pull out clear lane advantages. Unfortunately, the rest of the map did not do too hot.
I was going to say, from talking to Converse this week, what The basic idea that a lot of them, the coach and the players, want to get across is that we're not the ScaryJerry show.
No.
We are, we are a full team, blah, blah, blah. Everyone is very good in their own right.
Yeah.
Bay State looked dominant, I would say, 4 of the 5 positions, and it's up to the rest of Converse to step up and back up that claim. Because Bay State top down looked absolutely dominant in every single role, even though most of them had to blind their champions, and Converse had counterpick a lot of the time.
Yeah, because if you take a look back at the game, right, now I know we want to say that it's not a ScaryJerry show, but right from the beginning of that game, from literally this play, I was thinking that maybe we might see perhaps season 1 or 2 of this arc continue to unfold, because the show so far looks just so good, Edward.
Yeah, and I love when players are actively aggressive. And we see this bot lane, ScaryJerry and Rox, be aggressive. They take this matchup, they understand the Braum stacks, they play accordingly to it, they focus the right target. I thought all of that was well done. Alternatively, Seranok looked absolutely amazing, showed that similar amount of aggression mid, plays off the Ahri ulti incredibly well, and uses Fog incredibly well.
As a composition, it is really hard for Converse to do a lot early other than the Volibear. And from Coach Jad, he did not really have the best performance. I believe at a certain point he was 0-7 this game on Volibear. And as a champion, if you're not getting ahead early on Volibear, that champion ends up being very, very useless to be later.
Yeah, and a lot of the angles that Coach Jad found was like underwhelming, right? He got spotted in the alcove on top side, he came too late on bot side, actually got matched at a certain point by the enemy jungler, by DevildeGrey. So, not finding those angles as a Volibear, like you said, when you don't snowball, you're not that tanky damage, like drain tank threat. And you saw it here that Wukong Ahri, very mobile, they're able to get to the Ezreal, to ScaryJerry very easily, and so they can't play to range as they would want to with the tanks in front of them.
I think that bear was about as scary as Cubby, as if you will, honestly. Because if we're really looking, putting in perspective, like, he knew he had one job, and Cubby as well, when he plays supports, he knows on the Braum, he has one job. He's auto attacks, and breaking it all down, both did work out perfectly, and I think as of right now, Bay State have to be in very high spirits as well, even with their E-sub. They're performing fantastically.
Bro, Cubby's not even on the cast. Bay State, what are you gonna say? 10K gold lead at 20 minutes? Where's the faults? Where's the issues? There's not a lot to be said. Really, Converse is the one that has to adapt. If you're gonna give counterpick to the rest of your team, they need to perform, especially on stuff like the R5 Fiora counterpick topside.
Yeah.
Earlier in this week, I think that we would agree that most of the time for Bay State, Bejjaniii hasn't looked all that great, but today it's quite the opposite. He did very well in that lane, which I do want to give a lot of props to. Just like you said, Brandon, it is the entire team really stepping up.
He got a solo kill as well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really
and do you know why? Is because Bejjaniii was actually a career Fiora player before he actually came into this too. This guy knows his matchup inside and out. So he was like, "You're picking Fiora? That's crazy. I was born, raised by Fiora. I know you. You know me, bro. What do you think you're doing?"
Okay, counterpoint. He's playing Gwen, arguably the best top lane on the patch.
Yeah, and that's something to really think about as not only this series progresses, but as we look into the finals, is how exactly we're going to see players pick up the quote-unquote like pro meta champs, right? Because often collegiate, there's a lot of balance between that and people's personal preferences.
We saw that a bit. One thing that you were mentioning before the game, where's the Veigar today?
Yeah.
Veigar's not good.
Yeah.
Do we not remember yesterday the reset?
Completely absent.
Guys, we're lacking.
Yeah.
That one wasn't even jungle either. That was top.
Doesn't matter. Reset.
I mean, you're right. I mean, maybe more recess comp is what we need to see, because if you remember, previously, one of the biggest highlight plays that we saw in round of 16 from Converse was from that Vex play. That was also reset as well. So maybe that's what we might need to understand as we reset the sides as well. Converse will select red side going into the next game as well. And Bay State also continues, of course, to sub in DMK.
Saw DMK yesterday, very dominant, definitely side grade or upgrade. Very dominant performance this entire top 32. Converse has to, we're talking about resets. Converse needs to reset mentally, reset their draft maybe, more buzzwords about reset. They need to change something in order to come back in this series.
Yeah, and I wonder how dominant their bot lane will be if they actually give their bot lane counter picks, right? If they give them the opportunity to be a little more creative, give them a little more freedom, so they don't have to outplay every situation into a Tristana, into a Pyke, etc.
So what you're saying is pick Xerath.
Hey, if it's on the table, if it looks good, I think champs like Xerath, that is in ScaryJerry's wheelhouse, it's pretty difficult to play into like Seranok, Ahri, the DMK, Wukong, maybe the Veigar comes out. These champs that can jump in really quickly, dash in really quickly, and cover a lot of ground. That normally you have to be really, really confident in your spacing and your ability to dodge those angles in order to do that.
Yeah, because as of this point right now, it's got to be more than just a ScaryJerry show. All the Converse esports have been able to tune in and turn up, because in game number 2, I got to see y'all there, bro. This is about to be hard.